Hello, welcome to Always Yarn First, the podcast that delves into crochet, knitting, spinning, all things yarn. I'm Lindsey and I am your host coming to you from Central Arkansas. To stay updated on all my yarny adventures, follow me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Welcome, today is March 13th. It is a Thursday morning before I go to work. So, a little bit of admin before we get started. I am a Knit Picks ambassador. I have a code below this podcast for 15% off that you are welcome to use at any time. I'm also hosting a year-long make-along for Love My Stash. The rules are it has to be using stash that you had before this calendar year. It needs to be at least 50 grams worth of yarn, and I am hosting that on my Ravelry, which again is below this podcast, and you can post both chat and finished objects. Once a month I will announce here a winner, and if you are in the US I will send you a little package, and if you are outside the US I will send you a free Ravelry pattern. So I pulled for our February winner, and that is AliciaMoose. So congratulations. Please contact me at AlwaysYarnFirst@gmail.com. Okay, so if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for stopping in, checking me out, seeing if this is your vibe or not. I host a traditional podcast style, whips, cast-ons, finished objects, spinning, acquisitions, the whole thing. And I name every episode after a song title that fits in with my crafty life, my personal life, whatever I'm feeling that week. Because before my love of yarn was my love of music. So this week I chose the song It Ends Tonight by the All American Rejects. I do have a playlist on Spotify for this podcast that has all my songs I have chosen, and you are free to follow that below. Again, I will have it linked below. I will have timestamps below for all of my different segments that if you would like to skip a round. So let's get into it. For starters, I put on a knit. So I am wearing the Boxy Chevrons by Susanne Summer. This was, I think, the first ever Arkansas Yarn Co., where I work. Every time we have the Arkansas Yarn Crawl, they pick a garment to do like a make-along, so that every Saturday of the crawl, people that have made it comes in and we get pictures with everybody. So I think this is the first year I participated with that, was a few years ago. Is it 4 years ago already? I feel like that's right. But I love this, and so if you want to know what I used and everything, I will have my Ravelry page for it linked below. Obviously, I will have everything linked below, so I can stop saying that. So this week, pardon me, I will have finished object, cast-ons, whips, acquisitions, and we'll talk goals at the end of this podcast. I feel like I was going to say something else. I'm obviously looking down at my notes. That's what I was going to say. If you keep seeing me looking down, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so the finished object I was hoping to have 2 before this podcast, but I only had 1, and it is not here. It has been gifted, but I will insert a picture. I finished my Afterthought Everything socks, and to be clear, that was the socks that I had done the cranking for. I had a class that I taught at the shop for Afterthought Everything. So I cranked up the socks for everybody, and then during the class I showed them how to split it, to cut into 2 socks. It was a 50 gram skein. And then we did the first toe, we started the heel, and so on. So I've completely finished those socks, and I gifted them to Anna, who I work with at the shop. She is also my friend who loves blue like me, and she kept saying, oh, I really like that color. And so I'm like, I'm gonna make these socks for her. So I made those I finished them in 1 week. We're gonna talk more about Afterthought socks here in a second. So yeah, those are gone, and I'm happy about that. That is my only finished object, unfortunately. So let's get into cast-ons. I had 2 cast-ons. I can't believe that these have been cast on since the last podcast. Time is weird, so it feels like I've already talked about them, but I guess I haven't. So the first thing I cast on was my March Night Owl Fiber socks. So I am participating in her year-long make-along to make a pair of socks each month, start to finish. So this is super fun. Usually, if you've been here a while, you know I do vanilla socks for my make-alongs, just so they're no pressure. But about a week before March, someone I went to the Knitting McPurley retreat was looking for sock test knitters, specifically to use self-striping yarn. I decided to sign. I said, well, can I wait till March 1st? Like, when do these need to be done? She's like, just one sock needs to be done March 14th. And I'm like, awesome, cool. So March 1st, I cast on, and people had already started this. This is a cuff down sock. This pattern is called the Squiggle Wiggle socks, obviously. I cast on the cuff, started doing the pattern. Love, love, love. Love this pattern. Super easy. 2-row repeat. Awesome. Awesome. But Shannon, who is the designer, she has another pattern out. I will try to insert the name because I forgot what it's called. I bought it, but I haven't done it. She has made a Afterthought heel called the Bigfoot heel, I believe. And it's for those of you that would like to do an Afterthought, but you're like, that does not fit my heel well. So this pattern is supposed to be good for that. So this new pattern was including the Afterthought heel. There's a little, I'm trying not to give the pattern away. The pattern is not out, by the way, FYI. I'm trying to tell the story in order. So I did this, and once you get this done, you're supposed to do like a few more rows where you have to basically increase your stitches. You do certain 6 rows of things. I was having a hard time in that 6 rows deciphering, reading the pattern. So I kept contacting her. While I was doing that, again, people had started the sock before me. So I guess, because before I started, she had said people were saying that the sock was too tight. So I have been, when I started sock making, I used a US 1.5 needle. And then my stitching loosened up enough where I went down to a 1. So I've been doing my socks on a US 1. I decided, before I started this pattern, I had read that people were saying it was tight. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go up to the US 1.5. I have those needles, so I did this in a 1.5. I was trying to do those 6 rows, and I was having a problem, and I kept emailing Shannon. And then before I got any further, she had emailed the group and said, I know a lot of you are doing like a deadline with your socks this month, and people are really having a problem with the fit of the socks. So I'm going to scrap this test for now and work out some kinks, and then I'll get back to you. So she's like, just finish however you want to finish. So the pattern I was using of Shannon's, I just did this. At that point, I was kind of waiting for help when I got the message that she was scrapping the test knit for now while she works out some kinks. And so I decided to do my usual, so pretty much from the heel on is my normal vanilla sock, which I did the shadow wrap heel and just some scraps I have. And then I switched back to a US 1 because I know that that fits me well. So Just this is at 1.5, and then I switched back to a 1, did my heel, and then I just vanilla and finished it out. I have just barely cast on the second one, so, but I have one sock done and it's before the 15th, so I am still on track for that. Sorry, that was a lot of talking for that. And I didn't say what the color was. It is Mambo Remix by Night Owl Fibers. I've had this one in my stash for quite a while. We do not have that one at the shop, but I bought it at the shop, I think when we first started carrying Night Owl. Okay, I've cast on one more thing and have a good bit of progress. This is in a bag by Laura of Knit for Brains, Rainbow Bright. Love this, and the stars in there. This is the Flutter Buttshirt by JessieMaedDesigns. Currently, Arkansas Yarn Co. along with Knitty McPurley are hosting a knit along for this pattern through April 19th, March 1st through April 19th. Specifically in the slub, it doesn't call for slub in the pattern, but that's what Lori has used. That's what Devin fell in love with. And so I got slub. You guys have seen the slub. So I've made a good bit of progress. This is knit from bottom up. So you can see kind of the bottom here. It calls for a provisional. I did not do that. So basically, if you're familiar with this pattern, you're gonna basically pick up and knit the ruffles on the bottom. So I just took a regular fingering weight from my scraps and just did a cast on. And I figured that's gonna be hidden. So I have now, so it's knit in the round till you split for arms. So now I'm knitting flat. I can't remember if it's the front or back, but anyway, I think it's the front I'm knitting. So here is where I'm at, and I am in love with this color. This is Arkansas Yarn Co. Pearl Slub base in the color Raspberry Beret. I don't remember if we have this color in stock, but if you're motivated to cast on, we have a lot of slub colorways. And I believe the smallest size through the size large only needs 2 skeins of this, and the extra large all the way to the largest, which I believe is a 5X, only needs 3 skeins. So super, super cute. If you're a watcher of Devin's podcast, she mentioned the newsletter we put out. Lori had some hints, and one of, I think, the most important hint or advice for this, Lori has made a couple of these. And for us bigger girls with a tummy, people are like, I just don't think that is going to be cute on me. Lori's suggestion is that the end of this part, basically where you're casting on, should be at the thinnest part of your waist. So that means if your tummy sticks out underneath, the ruffles are going to go over that. That is going to be the most flattering look for you. So don't make your shirt longer, just make your ruffles longer. That is the key. So that is what I'm doing. I am trusting Lori here, and I'm very excited about that. That has got a lot of work. This, like the last few podcasts, again, I've been quite monotonous. I've really only touched a couple of things, which is so unlike me. A lot of podcasts, if you've watched older podcasts of mine, I may be showing 10 projects that I've touched in 2 weeks. So, all right, that is all my new cast-ons. So let's get into whips. And one thing, again, I can't believe I didn't, when I was looking through my notes of what I need to show, I'm like, really? Because I feel like I haven't touched this forever. But I literally, the last time I touched this was the day of the the podcast last time and the day after the podcast. So let's show it again. This is in Love It Amsterdam bag, and this is my Anesidora. And I am caught up currently. I'm using Gritty Knits All Year Advent. So you can see I was almost caught up last podcast. You see my marker. I'm going to move that up. And now you probably won't see it for a while because I like to wait till at least there's a couple months because it goes pretty fast once I catch up. But again, we'll do a side view. And then I'm just using an undyed white yarn for the background. Pretty self-explanatory. Love this pattern. And I think Natasha had put that she had a family emergency, so the clubs were going to be sending out later this month. She had to deal with something, and so it'll be probably a while before you see this. Okay, I've touched one other thing. And this next project is the project which I've named the episode after. It ends tonight. Because this is going to be an FO by the end of the day. If you've been here a while, I swear this is the last time I'm going to tell this story. Next time, there's only going to be a picture of these because this is going to be sent out. These are another pair of Afterthought socks. Look at how long this leg is. I looked up, before I started recording, I looked up when I started these socks. I started these socks last May of 2024. The fact that they're not done is absolutely ridiculous. So the story goes, my friend Rania told us she was moving. And I'm like, I'm gonna make you some socks. I found this yarn in my stash. She dyes her hair usually one of these colors. Like these were meant for Rania. Just reminds me of her every time I look at them. So I cast on socks, regular socks. I started knitting them. She's like, I like really tall socks. Okay, cool. So I knit a really tall sock. Finally completed one sock. Started a second sock. This is now fall. Last fall, I went to New York with some friends and my daughter and took the socks with me, thinking this will be a great thing to bring. I had one completed sock in my project bag and my current sock that I had cast on. Started knitting on the second sock. Get home from vacation, have my sock, have my yarn, don't have the completed sock. Totally missing. I'm guessing it probably got in like a couch cushion, the hotel we were staying at, I don't know. So then I'm like, well, what do I do? How do I know if I have enough yarn left to make the tall socks? So I frogged the hand knit sock that I was working on, which was the second sock, and took the yarn to work and cranked a tube. And I thought, okay, we're just gonna cut it in half and we're gonna make her extra long socks. So these are gonna be either like super slouchy socks or great for boots in the winter. Finished one sock, totally finished. And then as you saw, I had done that class on Afterthought Everything. Finished those in 1 week. 1 week. Why did I not have these done? I don't know. Who knows? So, I have this. I did the toe last night because I hadn't even done that yet. And I am almost done with the heel. This is going to be done today. And then I will need to weave in these ends. I have these ones all woven in. And then next week, these are going out in the mail to Rania. Because seriously, I do not know. I just almost wonder if it was like a mental block after losing the sock and having to start over. If that's what kind of did it. Like I don't know what it is. But these are the last time you're going to see them in person because these are going away. I hope that Rania loves these socks, and I just feel horrible that it's taken me this long to get them to her. And that is all of my whips. Like I said, I've had to force myself to get those out. Pretty much all I feel like I've worked on was these and my Flutter Buttshirt. Okay, but I have been spinning, so let's get into that. All right, I have been spinning. I'll show you the fiber first. I've shown this on the podcast. This is from Sweet Mountain Crafts. I got this at the Knitty McPurley retreat. This is how much I have left. Of course, again, same story. Advent right here. I got this to be spun and then plied with my Advent. I am working on a dadeless starling. I got used from my friend Caitlin. And I have been having problems with uptake, which I think I mentioned on the last podcast that I was getting really frustrated. I had started the spin and it was on the bobbin, and then I don't know what happened. It just got jostled or something. I don't know. It was miserable. I just kept trying to get it on there and it just kept breaking nonstop. So this past weekend at work, we had a trunk show. It was Desert Panda Fiber Arts, I think, which there's acquisitions coming. And she brought fiber. I was not going to buy any yarn. Not that I need fiber either, but I was excited to have fiber in the shop to purchase. So that was what I was focused on. So I actually brought my spinner with me because Kristen, who is the owner of Desert Panda, she also has a dadeless. She has a Magpie, which is the big one. And I was talking to her Friday at the trunk show, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really wish I could spin, but all my small ones are full, and my big one is just being temperamental. And she's like, oh, well, we'll bring your spinner in. Well, maybe I can help. I'm like, I'm sure it's just like something. I said, tensioning on this dadeless machine compared to my dadeless Sparrow is very different. The Sparrow, no problem. Got it. When I do the tension, my Sparrow is right there in front of the chicken. And no problem. But this one, I was really struggling, like how to tension. I thought I was adjusting the tension, but it didn't seem to ever help. So I brought it in. Kristen did like a little tweak and it helped a little. I was able to get it going. It was a busy day Saturday, so I was checking people out, but I had my spinner set up, and then my friend Emily came in, and she is Delight Knits. If you do not follow her, please go give her a follow. She should have way more people following her than she does. She is a delight, but she lives in Delight. That's why she's called Delight Knits. And she is an epic knitter and spinner. Like, she's only been spinning a year. She well exceeds what my spinning looks like. She is fantastic, and she writes patterns just amazing. Go give her a follow, please. And she came, and she also came for fiber. She bought a braid of fiber, and she saw that my spinner was out, and she's like, well, I brought my spinner in the car, but I didn't know if there was room. I'm like, you should bring it in. And she has, I can't remember what it's called. It's one that a lot of people have, the electric eel wheel 6, something like that. And so she decided to get out the braid she just bought and start spinning. And she was able to help me. I don't even know exactly everything she did because, again, I had to keep getting up. I was helping people, and I was grateful for any spinning time. So I am not complaining at all. It was awesome to spin. But she's like, do you mind if I sit and try to spin on yours? I'm like, yeah, I mean, she knows what she's doing. She's not going to break anything. So I'm like, yes, please. If there's anything you can figure out, that'd be awesome. So I was going off and helping people, and she was sitting there spinning and trying to adjust. And I showed her the things I was adjusting, and I'm like, I'm not getting any difference when I adjust these things. And she's like, yeah, okay. So by the time I came back to sit again, she's like, okay, I figured out the problem. And she showed me, and she's like, So I, adjusted this thing, and then it was like too loose, but I think I got it just right now. So I sat down and it spun like a dream. It was so good. So today's Thursday, that was Saturday. All I've wanted to do is spin, honestly, because I'm just so excited it's spinning nicely again. So, sorry if that was a long-winded story, you're not a spinner, but here is my spin. It is on, this is a dadeless starling. Nice giant bobbin. Here is my spin. Oh, I'm loving it. It is making me so happy. Got some fiber here hanging. That is what I've been working on since Saturday, mostly. I've had that, and this has been getting the most love. Those two things. I need to get on my second sock, but I was so far ahead that I'm like, ooh, I don't need to work on that. So that's going to change. Now I got fiber on my nose. So thank you, Emily, so much. I'm so glad I brought it to work, because otherwise I'd be sitting here, again, still frustrated. So I'm thrilled that I am able to spin again. All right, so that ends the crafty knitting, spinning. We are going to get into acquisitions and then goals next. So if you just came for the making, we are finished with that, and I thank you for being here. But let's get into acquisitions. Okay, so the first thing, let's just get right into the Desert Panda. I'm sorry I have it in a bag, but when I'm not here, I have this bag in the closet so my cat doesn't attack my fiber. As I mentioned, I was excited about Desert Panda. She had a lot of great yarn too. I really enjoyed that. She had a lot of bases, both in fiber and in yarn, that I had never seen firsthand. So you should check her out because it was beautiful. Okay, the first thing I got 3 different braids of fiber from her. The first one I got based on color. I had seen these rainbow ones were coming, and I am a sucker for the bright colors and the rainbow. So here it is. Let's try to... This is called Half a Rainbow. She has 6-ounce braids, which are super cool. So much fiber. This is white tweed, 80% South American wool, 20% viscose nips. And on her tags even, she has the approximate micron, which tells you how soft it is, and approximate staple length. So when you're spinning, the staple length is kind of how much you can stretch it before it breaks. I think that is super cool. So I had to get this rainbow because obvious reasons. Beautiful. Now, the next 2 things I got, I had seen that she was bringing Shanico wool. I have heard about Shanico through all these other podcasts I watch, both in fiber and in yarn, that it is a dream. I have been dying to get my hands on it, and I was so excited it was coming to me because, when you're trying a new base, everyone's a little different about how they like it, if it's too scratchy, soft, whatever. And so I was happy I get to feel it before I purchased it. So, knowing that I got the rainbow, and I am attracted to bright colors, even in fiber, but then you need to apply it with something. That's why I'm working on this with my Advent, because I'm like, I don't think, ooh, I need to get that. It's not that it's not pretty. I just don't think of that. I think of it's not bright enough. But if you get all bright, crazy colors and you're applying it together, it's gonna look insane. So I saw the first one that I found of the braids that was in Shanico was this one. It's so pretty. This is called Cherry Cheesecake. Again, it's 6 ounce. And it is Shaniko Natural Tweed. It is 89% NSW Shaniko wool, 6% acrylic nips, 5% rayon nips. I am excited to spin this. Again, it's not my like go-to color, but it gives me the neutral feel, but still being interesting. But one that was more my color and was also in Shaniko was this one. So this is Snowy Pines, 6 ounce, same makeup as the other one. And I just thought, because this has those like golden, orangey browns in there, I think these are going to go together. And because these are both 6 ounces, I should definitely be able to get a sweater, a tank, a tee, something like garment-wise out of that. I am so excited for this. See, you have that goldy part that's just like exactly like this right here. And so I think that'll be really, really pretty. Oh my goodness. This is why also I've been spinning like crazy, because I want to get this Shaniko on my spinner really bad. But I have to finish these. I can't start a new bobbin. I'm making myself finish these first. So super, super excited. All right, I got a couple other things, not from the trunk show. That was all I got from the trunk show. I bought no yarn from her. A while back, I decided, because I'm a self-striping addict, I got some Velici. There we go. Let's do it the right way. And again, I like shorty socks, and you've seen that I can knit an entire pair of socks with contrasting heel-toe cuff, and it makes a good size sock. So I just get one of each, 50 gram. Sorry, the fiber is getting in my nose. This is Country Roads General Store and Lisa. And then I got one more thing. The other day, Anna was reminding us what our sweater or garment is for the yarn crawl this year. Our yarn crawl is in August, I think. Don't quote me on that. End of July or August. And we are doing the Tolsta Tee or Tank by Rebecca Clow. And I was like, oh yeah, because I haven't, been finishing any garments, I probably should cast mine on. And I didn't know what I was making. So I have a few ideas, and this is a really great pattern because I bought both the Tolsta Tee and the Tank. Both patterns, first of all, come with directions for fingering or DK. So for the tee, you're getting like 2 patterns, the DK weight, the fingering weight, both included. The tank top, you are getting 6 patterns, because not only does it come with fingering and DK, but it comes with 3 different options for the tank. It has a V-neck, like a skinny square neck, and then like kind of like bra strap right here. And so it's so good. I have a few options, but I'll tell you what I bought first, because I do the newsletter for Arkansas Yarn Co. So I'm always walking around every week trying to figure out what I can highlight that maybe hasn't got highlighted for a while, or I think needs shown some love. So we have Schoppel wool, which, if you know Zauberball, but we also have these. These are called Cotton Ball. We have a few different cotton ones, but these are the more kind of like semi-tonal. I saw these colors when I was taking them out to photograph, and I'm like, those are really nice. I kind of laid them on the table by themselves, and like just every time I came in the room, I'm like, yeah, I do like those together. So I'm thinking I will make the striped tank, and I only need one of each. Let's see. I did the math. I can't remember where it is that I saw how much is on here. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, sorry. I got one of each for the tank. And I really, last year, I feel like I was starting to enjoy more of my knit tank tops. Because even though it is hot as all get out in Arkansas, I feel comfortable in when I go to work. So I have got a lot of wear out of them last year. So I want more tanks, light tanks in my wardrobe. So I don't know which one I'm going to cast on. I definitely got this for the tank, but I had also so that is it in my acquisitions. But I just wanted to show this because we're talking about the yarn crawl tank. I had gotten this previously at work. This is Teeny Button Studios, and this is a breezy fingering. It is 50% merino, 50% cotton. And I'm thinking about, there's 436 yards of each of these, so there's enough in this if I want to make a solid color one of the tanks, which could be an option. We do have like 2 more of colors of different colors of this at work in this base, so that may also be an option. But yeah, there is options there, and if I like the tank, there could be more than one in my future. All right, I have one more thing. I guess it is an acquisition. It was a gift to me, but this is stunning. So our friend, again, speaking of the yarn crawl, Sydney Fowler, who has had her things as the trunk show during the yarn crawl at least the last 2 years that I know. She makes all kinds of things, but I think maybe most known for her glass jewelry that is fantastic. I know I showed some that I got last year from my daughter, and she wears the pieces I got from her last year all the time. Sydney is just great at many things, and she constantly gets different tools and is trying to make different things. Don't ask me the tools she makes because I don't remember, but she is testing out a design, and she basically made all of us at the yarn shop one of these to test to help her out to make some for the crawl. Look at this thing. This is wood. Just amazing. And the chain is nice and sturdy. Now this is not like an everyday purse because the wood, the more times you open this, it'll get worn. It is a special occasion. But look in there. It is fantastic. Just absolutely amazing. So this was such a special gift that I love it. I love it so much. So again, I ask you, I have her website. She has a website now, store. Please go onto her website and check out things she has. She's always adding things. I'm telling you, Sydney always is expanding, learning to make new things. And she will definitely be at the yarn crawl again at the store. But go check out her website below and see what she has. That is all of my acquisitions. Now, let's briefly talk goals, because then I gotta get to work. Okay, February goals. Yarn in, I had 9 skeins, which brought my total to 23. Yarn out was 3, which brought my total to 12. I cast on 3 things. I finished 2 things, and I'm putting gram stitch. I mentioned I was going to do grams, but I'm not doing like grams in and out generically. I'm doing skeins for that. Gram stitch means of like things I have finished and what I've actually worked on. Just for my own, I think it'd be fun to see at the end of the year. So my grams stitched up was 110 grams. March goals. I only have 2. Again, I'm keeping it pretty low key this year. Like I'm still going with the creating my joy. Right now it's my spinning that is giving me the most joy. But always Night Owl fibers. So you saw I have one sock done. And my other goal is to get this done, which shouldn't be a problem as much as I've been working on it. That is all of my goals. So if you stayed all the way to the end, again, I give you a special thank you for being here, for being patient with me, for listening to my word whiskers, which I know I have many. But I am so glad you're here. Please comment below. Let me know what you're making. Let me know if you're going to come to see me at the yarn crawl this year. We met lots of new people from Texas. I would love to see those people come over and see us. That would be so much fun. And again, I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.